Am I the only person who feels like they are in a 20th century loop? Despite being firmly in 2020, we seem to be going back 100 years when it comes to recognising creative talent. Time and time again, there is an overwhelming lack of diversity in the nominations at award shows, leading to outrage and head-scratching, but a complete absence of change. Well, this week, it was the turn of the Brits to deliver a diversity deficit and ignore female talent in the music industry. From the Oscars to the BAFTAs, all these award ceremonies are now starting to be a source of confusion, which sadly distracts from the celebration. To give the Brits credit, they responded swiftly when they were called out a few years ago for their lack of ethnic representation. It worked, and there was a marked improvement. The same effort needs to be applied for gender and other underrepresented groups. This has to be addressed because a lack of inclusion undermines and diminishes these prestigious awards and the talented individuals who win them. Without diversity in music, you devalue the sound.
Do you know, I don't think any awards ceremony should have anything to do with diversity. It should be to do with outstanding... I'm talking about gender diversity, OK? So please, don't take it. I'm talking about gender diversity.
I didn't say anything!
What it should be about is outstanding talent, the best of the best. And maybe... just maybe this year, it seems hard maybe for you to comprehend that maybe the guys produced the most stuff this year. Life isn't about 50-50 equality. The world isn't 50-50 equal, and now that on music and the art. And I think any attempt to influence the awards based on gender, you demean the awards themselves and you demean the artist. Might make you feel better, June, but actually if I was a female artist at the Brits and I got given an award because I was a woman, I would feel patronised and I'd feel horribly humiliated as well. A guy called Jeff Taylor, who is in charge, he's the CEO of the Brits, he radically overhauled the Academy this year and he made it 50-50. He made 50% male, 50% female and 24% BME. You can't get more equal than that. And you have to respect the choice that those people made, their decisions. Let's just point something out to you. Between 2008 and 2018, there was a 0% increase in the number of female acts credited on the best-selling 100 songs of the year. Conversely, between the same period, 54% increase for the guys. So the guys were producing the more outstanding work this year. What's the problem with that?
OK, look, we have that quote from Jeff Taylor, so it's worth watching.
A few years ago, we changed the makeup of our voting academy and we radically overhauled it. And so it's 50-50 male-female, and we have about 24% BME representation on the academy because we want the academy to represent the country. But I think we have to respect the views of those academy members. It is an equal number of men and women that have made that choice, and I think we should respect the albums that they've nominated as being fantastic albums.
Isn't that a bit of a problem for you? I mean, they actually have got 50% men and women who are deciding this, and they disproportionately chose the men this year.
Well, what I would say to that is perhaps then we need to take one step. We need to go one step further, which is looking at why that happened.
We didn't shout about gender diversity when Adele won 4 Brits in one night. We didn't shout about it when she won 6 Grammys in one night, or Beyonce. What we did shout was, these people are screamingly outstandingly talented.
The problem.
But their gender had nothing to do with it.
No, but why do they have to be so outstanding?
Because you do it, because it's awards, June.
We can't have an award season now, can we, without the obligatory race route? It's happening all the time. It's all the time now. A gender route. Gender or race, it's either or. And then it's because we've got an identity-obsessed politics. What are you suggesting, June? Are you suggesting we have quotas? They've got to be... Is that what you're saying? So they've equalled up the jury, half men, half women, 25% BME, and still you haven't got the result you want.
Well,
what have you got to do? Say they've got to have quotas. That's what you appear to be arguing.
That's not what I'm saying. Greg has got a brilliant answer. Say what you...
Well, BAFTA are now, after this year's awards, which they got a lot of criticism for, including His Royal Highness, they are looking at changing the process. And I think, as someone who's a member of BAFTA, and was vice
You're
president.
not running that as well, are you?
Yeah, no, I...
Not for long, though.
Before.
No, I am vice president, but that's...
of course.
But the interesting
all these accolades.
thing about BAFTA is they're now going to look again at how do the votes happen.
Yep.
And I suspect what will come out of it is that they'll draw up a short list. There'll be a much smaller group draw up a short list, and then that short list will be given to the members. But I also suspect when you look at the short list and say, actually, there are no women in here, or there are no
people of colour
in here, we might put one in.
groups.
But the bottom line is, if the work doesn't warrant them to be there, they shouldn't be there. Are
But
we
the work
seriously
does.
suggesting?
Just heard
are
a
we
song you liked.
Oh, that's one song I quite liked, June. I don't think it's an award winner. But are you seriously
Freya
suggesting
ratings.
that mediocre people win awards just to make up a
No,
quota
I'm
of
not.
men? Well, it
No, I
seems
think,
like
Billie
I think
Eilish
mediocre people win awards anyway, but...
One of the,
this is what we're saying.
Quite often.
Outstanding work should win records, and whether the person's black, white, male or female, that's what should win.
I found it very strange at the BAFTAs. One of the very most surreal moments of that moment was that we had an unelected, taxpayer-funded Crown Prince talking about inclusivity and diversity.
I thought that was wonderful.
Well, I found it curious because, of course, part of the very nature of the institution that he represents survives on not having inclusion and for people that aren't members of the royal family or born into it, or luckily picked enough to marry one of them. But it's a
Where
very...
have you gone now?
Yeah,
Well,
where are you taking this?
Well, because actually, where I'm taking is that I think there's a bit of a, sometimes in the industry itself, there's a bit of a cognitive dissonance. We're not thinking consistently around all of this, and so, you know, if you're gonna champion diversity and inclusion for one organisation, then surely it means...
No, we're talking about the music industry here.
It applies to everything else as well.
The most
frankly.
interesting quote I saw this week, or the study I saw this week from the Brits, it was from YouGov. And someone said, to what extent are Britons interested in finding out who won at the Brit Awards?
No.
And it turned out 80% didn't give a toss.
Yeah.
Do you give a toss?
To the music
I don't. No.
Well,
Do you give a toss?
I didn't know who that singer was, but I've got something to read from Mabel.
No, either of them were.
I only knew Dave because I read about it
Right.
today.
Mabel says, as women, we get moulded into something that we don't necessarily want to be. Whereas as a boy, I think you're encouraged to just sort of figure it out and do whatever you want to do. I think it's about encouraging young female artists to give them the space to experiment.
Well, can I just say, I love the way that Stormzy accepted his award, in that he also celebrated the women behind him, like Akua, who've made his success possible.
We're not going to change our mind on this. Okay.